Hello, everybody. Welcome to another day, another chaos, and another Prime Minister's question. This could be potentially Boris Johnson's final Prime Minister's questions, or technically final, because obviously, even if he gets ousted later this week or early next week, he's still going to have to do the goodbye tour PMQs next week anyway. But this is a crucial day for the government. We are going to be out and about today as well. So I'm going to go to Westminster to report live for you guys from outside Parliament. Any breaking news that comes, this channel will keep you guys posted, and we're going to give you the live reaction to the PMQs today because it is getting quite important. And I know that the MPs in there are going to focus on party politics and gossip and all the nonsense, but we are going to here to translate that into real life issues. Hello to everyone in the live chat, by the way. You saw me about just over 12 hours ago. We're back with another busy day. So, what's going on in the live chat while we wait for the Prime Minister to come? We've had a number of resignations today. We've had Lord Trott, who resigned as Transport PPS. We've had Will Quince, who resigned as Education Minister for Children. Robin Walker has resigned from Minister for School. And then we've had a number of people who have massively criticized. The most important news of this morning so far has been Lee Anderson. Lee Anderson has finally come out publicly against the Prime Minister for the first time to actually make a move against the Prime Minister. That means that the majority of the Red Wall Tory MPs are now defying the rule and they're not obeying anymore. So John Glenn has also just resigned minutes ago as Economic Secretary to the Treasury. Tom Hunt, MP for Ipswich, has submitted his letter of no confidence. He is also on the 1922 committee. And let's go to some of the comments. John Lewis says, there we go. Let's actually put the comments down here so we can actually see what's going on. Maya, you look pretty good considering how much work you did yesterday. Thank you, guys. Thank you so much for the support. It's been a crazy for a couple of days, but especially over the last 24 hours, I've hardly actually had any time to sleep because I had to kind of stay up to date with everything. I think I went to sleep at 4 a.m. last night, this morning, and I woke up at around 8. Had a bit of a nap as well, so it's fine. We're back, still suffering inside. That's going on. Watching this Parliament lot is worse than someone scraping their nails down a chalkboard. This is Shirley Keeler saying that. I think we should expect the PM to stand up any moment, and we're going to go live to the House of Commons for the first few minutes when Keir Starmer asks his nonsensical questions, and then we're going to react and analyze the whole situation. So let's see what's going on. Where is the Prime Minister? It's literally 12:01 here, and I think about also there's a bit of a delay here if you're watching this, so don't watch TV. TV is dead. We're going to watch everything on this platform. So let's quickly go on this, and we'll be with you within the next few minutes. Nope, there's still nothing going on there. But yeah, okay, so let's read some of the live chat comments before Boris Johnson stands up and talks. Alex R says, imagine the hellish nightmare a Labour, Liberal Democrat and SNP coalition would be. Yeah, you think the current situation is bad? That will be even worse. Not that this means that you have to support Boris Johnson and the Tories right now. Nope, but there has to be time to completely get rid of some of the swampish people right now inside government to make sure that we actually bring back some sanity into British politics. Okay, so see, Scott's talking about, replace Boris with whom? We're still waiting to see the alternatives. Let's see what's going on there. I think the Prime Minister should be now ready. Kevin says, you look a bit red in the eye. I know. Thanks, guys. Thank you. Derek says, interesting day ahead. Glad to be watching with you rather than the MSM. Hope you have plenty energy. Yeah, I'm trying. I'm gonna have a lot of Red Bulls and coffee because, as I said, I'm gonna be out and about today for you guys. I'm gonna be around Westminster to report from outside Parliament. So stay tuned. It's gonna be a busy day. Afterwards, I'm gonna read out the list of the latest resignations again. I think we have to just wait for the PM any moment. Where is he? Okay, so Jacqueline says, ashamed of the Prime Minister, he should do the right thing and resign before he brings down the government and gets Labour in. That is a very good point, Jacqueline, because the longer this goes on, the easier it will be for the Labour Party to win the next election. Okay, so to be fair, a lot of people are more concerned about who's going to be behind the next Prime Minister, the agenda. As we can see, Lord Veteran says, don't care who the Prime Minister is as long as it's not really a WF puppet as usual. Right, so that's going on. How many? We have getting close. Come on, 600 people watching right now. Click on the like button. It might help to recommend a suggested video on YouTube to other people as well. I know it's like it's not usually the normal time for this channel to upload the video, but usually we start later today, later than this. But today is an important day, so I do need a lot of energy actually. It's quite tough. It is important to actually realize that to avoid the media style witch hunt. Those who just want to stare the part and say, oh well, if Boris goes, then it's just good for business, for media business, and the drama. And that's just you're just asking for more trouble for the country. We don't need more divisions in this country. We already have enough issues to deal with. I'm just here to make sure that we report the accurate stuff that's going on. Why is the Prime Minister not speaking yet? I have no idea. Where is he? What's going on? Yeah, John says, grab some old school original Lucozade, mate. I can't drink Lucozade. It makes me sick. So Henry says, has Boris been taken out yet? No, not yet. There is the 19 to 22 committee. They're going to meet at 4 p.m. to discuss the rule changes, and they've invited Dominic Raab, the Deputy Prime Minister, to go and have a chat with them. So speculations are that this is in the case that they're going to change the rules, get rid of Boris Johnson, and ask Dominic Raab to be the caretaker Prime Minister for the next few weeks or whatever at this point. So it's going to be quite dramatic, and it's best to not play into the hands of the left or the media. But the Tory party need to get their act together. They need to sort it out as soon as possible, because the longer it goes, the worse it will get for their party. Not really sure. Let's go see what's going on in the comments. Let's see what Sky has to say.
Amidst all of that, the question now I have is whether or not MPs will approach the Prime Minister today and say, look, the letters are in, or the majority of the party, the backbenchers, no longer support you. That's a very fluid discussion. That is fast moving. Sir Graham Brady, the chair of the 22 committee, he's the person that makes that call, because he's the one that takes the soundings of...
Jesus Christ. I'd rather not listen to Beth Rigby while we wait. It's just too painful. Okay, so let's have a look at some of the comments while we wait for the Prime Minister. Dave says, bring back England. And JM says, how about an actual Conservative for Prime Minister? That was my answer last night when I was outside Parliament. People were asking, who do you think you want for Prime Minister? I was like, I don't know, next time, a Conservative. That will help. Doesn't really matter who it is as long as they could get it together. Terry says Johnson is as much use as a chocolate fire guard. Everybody's still waiting. Let me see. Trevor says, you look like I think we all feel tired and annoyed. Look after yourself. We need you. I am actually genuinely quite annoyed of this whole situation. I'm gonna get my energy back, don't worry. After the PMQs, we're gonna go out and about in Westminster and see what's going on. Oh dear God. Alright, so what's going on there? Who's the Prime Minister now? Also, is Keir Starmer there yet? I think he is there, yep. So we're just going to wait. Let's have a look at some of these comments. Boris was urgently needed in Ukraine, don't you know? Yep. And because of this mess in Parliament. Oh, there we go. The Prime Minister has finally arrived. Wow. Talk about not being punctual. Okay. What was he doing? Late breakfast. There we go. We just had another resignation. Victoria Atkins has resigned as Home Office Minister. The Home Office is falling as well. So that's not really looking good for the government. Okay, we have Joe Churchill MP has also resigned 6 minutes ago. Wow. Okay, so this is the end for Boris Johnson. I can officially confirm that this is now the end for the Prime Minister, because if everybody's going to resign and the backbenchers are rebelling, he's not going to have enough people to give them these ministerial jobs. So the government is going to be empty, which is actually not a bad thing. It's always more peaceful when governments don't do anything. There we go. Let's go to the House of Commons and see what's going on.
Let's go to what the Prime Minister's about to take to his feet. Let's listen in.
Mon-Fri, sir. Prime Minister. Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Today is a big day as we implement the biggest tax cut. For a decade. Increasing national insurance thresholds to make tax lower and the tax burden easier. These changes will benefit 30 million people across the UK. And I'm pleased to say that two of those people are seated here in the public gallery today. Mandy Banfield and Alan Calzari, a typical worker, will now save £330 per year, with 70% of employees better off as a result. That is real money for real people. And Mr. Speaker, I'm sure the House will also join me in wishing the best of luck to England and Northern Ireland, who are competing in the UEFA Women's Euro 2022 tournament, which starts today, and I'm sure they will both make the nation proud. This morning, Mr. Speaker, I had meetings with ministerial colleagues and others.
What colleagues?
In addition to my duties in this House, I expect I shall have further such meetings later today.
Thank you, sir. Last week we launched a new approach to combating knife crime in Milton Keynes, which means increased use of stop and search. It means tougher charging and custody, tougher sentencing, faster youth diversion, and more work with parents and communities. Would the Prime Minister agree with me that if you carry a knife in Milton Keynes, you should expect to end up behind bars?
Yes, I thank my honourable friend for what he's doing to campaign for tougher sentences in Milton. He's in campaign against knife crime, and as a result of what the Conservatives have done, adults who are convicted of certain offences involving a knife, including threatening with a knife or a second offence of possession, face a minimum sentence of 6 months imprisonment, Mr. Speaker. And guess who voted against tougher sentences for knife crime?
We now come to the Leader of the Opposition, Keir Starmer.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Today is the start of the Women's Euros, and I know the whole House will wish the Lionesses the very best of luck in bringing football home.
What is a woman?
Mr. Speaker, it's also... Mr. Speaker, it's also been 40 years since the death of Terence Higgins. Terence worked at Hansard by day and Heaven by night before he sadly died of AIDS. The Labour Party and the Terence Higgins Trust are committed to ending new cases of HIV by 2030. Together we can. Mr. Speaker, last week a government minister was accused of sexually assaulting a young man. I want to quote the victim's account. He says, "He grabbed my ass and then he slowly moved his hand down in front of my groin. I froze." I accept that's not easy listening, but it's a reminder to all those propping up this Prime Minister just how serious the situation is. He knew the accused minister had previously committed predatory behaviour, but he promoted him to a position of power anyway. Why?
Prime Minister.
Mr. Speaker, that individual, the member for Tamworth, no longer has the Conservative whip. He no longer has a job. He is no longer, as soon as I was made aware of the allegation that he has just read out, Mr. Speaker, and the complaint that was made, he lost his status as a Conservative MP, and he is now the subject, Mr. Speaker, of an independent investigation to the Complaints and Grievances panel. And that is entirely right. And I want to say to him, Mr. Speaker, I want to say to him that I abhor bullying and abuse of power anywhere in Parliament, in this party or in any other party.
Keir Starmer.
None of that explains why he promoted him in the first place. And we've heard it all before. We know who he really is. Before he was found out, he's reported to have said he's handsy. That's the problem. Pincher by name, pincher by nature. Now, has the Prime Minister ever said words to that effect? And I'm not asking for bluster and half-truth. We've all had enough of that. Yes or no?
Prime Minister.
Mr. Speaker, I'm not going to trivialise what happened. Yes, Mr. Speaker. Yes, Mr. Speaker. I'm not, because the very serious complaints have been raised against the member for Tamworth, and they're now being investigated, Mr. Speaker. It is true that the complaint was raised when he was in the Foreign Office, and the matter was resolved. It's absolutely true. It's absolutely true, Mr. Speaker, that it was raised with me. I greatly regret that he continued in office, and I've said that. I have said that before, Mr. Speaker. I have said that before, Mr. Speaker. But it is now the subject of an independent investigation, and that is the right thing, Mr. Speaker. Frankly, I think the people of this country would like also to hear. They would like also to hear about other jobs that are held by people in this country, not least the 500,000 people who got off welfare into work in the last 6 months alone, Mr. Speaker. Those are things that are making differences to the lives of people up and down the country, and I'm proud of it.
Keir Starmer.
No one's cheering that.
No denial. And he says the matter was resolved when he means it was upheld. Exactly. And they're all sitting there as if this is normal behaviour. When that young man reported his attack to a government whip, she asked him if he was gay. When he said that he was, she replied, "That doesn't make it straightforward." That comment will sicken anyone who's experienced sexual assault and then be made to feel like they somehow asked for it, or who worry that prejudice means their complaint won't be taken seriously. Will he apologise for those disgraceful comments on behalf of his government?
Mr. Speaker, I've already said that I regret very much that the member for Tamworth continued to hold office after the complaint was made against him in the Foreign Office, and it was resolved in the Foreign Office. His apology was accepted, but clearly that was not enough. And in hindsight, Mr. Speaker, I should have realised that he would not change. However, when it came to the Friday of last week, and when I was given the information that he's read out about the complaint that was made against the honourable member, I acted immediately, Mr. Speaker, and I took the whip away from him. And we will not tolerate that kind of behaviour in this or any other party, Mr. Speaker. And what we also want to do is to help people up and down the country with the things that also matter to them, like cutting their taxes, Mr. Speaker, by £330 this year, which is what we're doing.
Keir Starmer.
Doesn't that just sum him up? Awful behaviour, unacceptable in any walk of life. It's there for all to see, but he ignores it. It was the same when his ally was on the take from the lobbyists. It was the same when his Home Secretary was bullying staff. It was the same when taxpayers' money was being abused. And it was the same when he and his mates parted their way through lockdown. Anyone quitting now, after defending all that, hasn't got a shred of integrity. Mr. Speaker, isn't this the first recorded case of the sinking ships fleeing the rat?
Mr. Speaker, look, he talks about he should hear what his lot say about him, Mr. Speaker. He talks about integrity. He wanted to install the member for Islington North into number 10, Mr. Speaker. That's what he wanted to do. Imagine what our country and what the world would be like now. He talks about integrity. He voted 48 times to overturn the will of the British people and take us back into the European Union. And by the way, listening to his muddled speech the other day, that is exactly what he would do again. Mr. Speaker, he talks about integrity, but Mr. Speaker, he has voted time and time again against sanctions on criminals that would put them behind bars. This is the government that is tough on... I'm sorry, he talks about integrity. He is himself facing a criminal investigation, Mr. Speaker, which he asked me to resign.
Keir Starmer.
What a pathetic spectacle. The dying act of his political career is to parrot that nonsense. And as for those who are left, only in office because no one else is prepared to debase themselves any longer, the charge of the lightweight brigade. Have some self-respect. Mr. Speaker, for a week, he's had them defending his decision to promote a sexual predator. Every day, the lines he's forced them to take have been untrue. First, that he was unaware of any allegation. Untrue. Then, he was unaware of any specific allegation. Untrue. Then he was unaware of any serious specific allegation. And now he wants them to go out and say that he simply forgot that his whip was a sexual predator. Anyone with anything about them would be long gone from his front bench. In the middle of a crisis, doesn't the country deserve better than a Z-list cast of nodding dogs?
Well, Mr. Speaker, it's exactly when times are tough and when the country faces pressures on the economy and pressures on their budgets, Mr. Speaker, and when we have the biggest war in Europe for 80 years, Mr. Speaker, that is exactly the moment that you'd expect a government to continue with its work, not to walk away, Mr. Speaker, and to get on with our job and to focus on the things that matter to the people of this country. And so we're not only cutting taxes today, Mr. Speaker, we're putting £1,200 into every one of the 8 million most vulnerable households in the country, Mr. Speaker, thanks to the strength of our economy and thanks to the decisions that we took, Mr. Speaker, which he opposed at the time.
Keir Starmer.
The only thing he's delivering is chaos. I started this session with a quote from the young victim in all this, how he froze when he was attacked. When I was prosecuting rapists, I heard that from victims all the time. Victims said they froze because it's not about sex, it's about power. And the power the disgraced government minister had was handed to him by that Prime Minister. And he's only in power because he's been propped up for months by a corrupted party defending the indefensible. So it's no longer a case about swapping the person at the top. Isn't it clear? The only way the country can get the fresh start it deserves is by getting rid of the lot of them.
Mr. Speaker, the difference between this...
We've got to get through Prime Minister's questions. Prime Minister.
Children.
Mr. Speaker, the difference between this government and that opposition is we have a plan and they do not. And we're getting on it. They want to focus on this type of issue, Mr. Speaker. We're going to get on with our jobs. We're going to control prices, Mr. Speaker, by not giving in to the union barons. They're paid by the union barons, and they're proud of it. We were the first European country to arm the Ukrainians, Mr. Speaker. I'm proud of that. And those guys, Mr. Speaker, the party opposite, not only do they want to put Mr. Corbyn into number 10, the member for Islington North, but 8 of them, including the shadow foreign secretary, the shadow deputy leader, and 6 others voted to get rid of our independent nuclear deterrent lifting people up and down the country, and we are going to continue to deliver on the mandate I was given.
Johnny Mercer! Thank you very much, Mr. Speaker. On Monday night, the Northern Ireland Legacy Bill reached its third reading.
Right.
And so with it, the beginning of the end of the journey, a long journey to make sure
Let's wait for this question and
service
go.
and sacrifice of those who served in Iraq, Afghanistan, and now Northern Ireland is not rewritten by those who seek only to line their own pockets. But would the Prime Minister agree with me that never again can we allow such a gulf to open up between this place and those who serve? Never again must they be made to feel like we are not on their side. And will he redouble his commitment to make sure this is the best country in the world, to serve in the military and be a veteran or their family?
Thanks, my honourable friend, very much. I thank you for all the work that he's done for veterans and continues to do. This bill will give veterans the certainty they deserve.
Yeah, we're not going to get much out of these guys anymore. So, we're back. Yeah, what a theatre. School ground, playgrounds, school kids. It's absolutely embarrassing, the state of our politics. These are the people we are dealing with. These are the people. I'm not listening to Ian Blackford. I'm not going to unmute this. In fact, I'm going to get rid of him. There we go. No more Blackford. No more Blackford. Yeah, so did we learn anything from this Prime Minister's questions? No, we didn't. Starmer is still Starmer. Boris Johnson is refusing to learn, and everybody else is just sitting there shouting or checking their phones on Twitter. It is absolutely disgusting that these are the people who are representing us, not just in the country, but across the world on the international stage. These are our representatives. Oh, dear God. So, we had a lot of good comments, by the way, in the live chat. I was putting them on the screen as we were listening to the two clowns fighting against each other. One of the comments was brilliant. So is this Prime Minister's questions or 8 Mile? It was literally like a battle of not battle of ideas, but battle of shouts and screams and I don't know, spits. Absolutely crazy. So Andrew says you did a superb job last night. I am still going to go out and about today. We're going to be outside Parliament, reporting for you guys with all the breaking news. Let me just quickly read the latest for you guys before we go and come back in the next couple of hours. We're not going to go anywhere on this channel today. It's going to be throughout the whole day. A lot of shows we're going to have for you guys. So Joe Churchill has resigned from DEFRA as DEFRA Minister. Simon Fell has tweeted enough is enough. And we've had Victoria Atkins, who's resigned as Justice Minister. These are all today, just this morning, not yesterday. Tom Hunt, the MP for Ipswich, who is on in the 1922 committee, has submitted his letter of no confidence. John Glenn has resigned as Economic Secretary to the Treasury. We have had Felicity Bugan resigned as PPS at the Department for Business. Lee Anderson has publicly come out against Boris Johnson, so that's really big news. Chris Skidmore has declared that he no longer has any support in the Prime Minister. We have also had Robert Halfon declaring withdrawing his support. Robin Walker has resigned as Minister for Schools. Will Quince has resigned as a Minister for Children. And Laura Trott has resigned as Transport PPS, saying that trust in politics is and must always be of the utmost importance. But sadly, in recent months, this has been lost. Oh, dear God. So, yeah, this is Westminster politics as we know it. I saw a lot of people in the live chat, you guys were saying, we have big issues to deal with right now. The cost of living crisis, we've got the fuel prices still going up. The inflation is still absolutely crazy. We have the budget crisis, the spending is going up, taxes are going up. And yet, these guys can't even get their own act together. They can't even govern their own internal bodies, let alone the whole country. And I'm not just talking about the Tories, I'm talking about the whole of the political class in Westminster. The Labour Party are also as bad as the Tory Party. It's not really looking good. So let's take a quick break. We're going to go get something to eat for lunch, and we're going to come back later on with more updates for you guys throughout the day. Some parts of the updates will be from here, from my studio, The rest of it will be out and about in Westminster. See who else we can annoy. I might go and try and find Steve Bray to annoy him a little bit. And later tonight, I think around after 9 p.m, I'm going to be on GB News to debate Boris's leadership. If you want to tune in for that as well. Well, we're going to go take a break. Thanks again for watching. I'm Tousi, and we are the media.